Hey Rainmakers, Isaiah Colton here, and I'm live with Ron Mazza, and today we're going to be talking about the topic specifically around prospecting, but more importantly, the number one reason why I believe sales professionals don't hit their goals. And it doesn't have to do with prospecting only, but if you had to take a guess, what is the number one reason why sales professionals don't hit their goals? Right? So I want you to sit back and think about that. Ron and I were talking a little bit about that before we started our call. And before we answer that question, what the number one reason is, I want to tell you a little bit of a backstory on this topic and where this topic came about. My first sales job was actually selling telecommunications out of college, and I was actually door knocking, and I was going, and I was very competitive. I was hyper competitive. And I wanted to win. I wanted to be the best. And I went to my manager. And I said, "Look, this guy keeps beating me, and I don't know why." And I didn't think he was more talented than me. And so I tried to figure it out. And so my manager asked me a simple question, which was almost like, I don't know. It was almost so simple it kind of pissed me off. But he goes, "Isaiah, well, how many doors did you knock on today?" And so I answered the question, and he goes, "Well, how many doors do you think he knocked on?" And I go, I don't know. I go, "Okay, well, find out how many doors that he knocked on versus how many doors you knocked on. And it's probably going to give you an indication. Now, if he knocked on less doors, then there's another indication." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Well, number one, either he's knocking on more doors than you, and therefore he's getting more sales, or number two, his skills are better, and you have to figure out what he's doing to close more deals than you." And so I'm like, okay. So I went through this, and this guy, Ron, this guy was a machine. He hit more doors consistently, more than anybody else in the company. He just knocked on more doors, period. And now, don't get me wrong, he was a pretty talented guy too, but his work ethic was just unbelievable. So it's interesting because every single time that I've ever had a sales slump since then throughout my career, and now that I've trained and coached thousands of inside sales agents and entrepreneurs, and I know, Ron, you've coached thousands of agents and entrepreneurs as well, is that the first question I ask somebody when they're in a slump or they're saying, "Yeah, I'm just not meeting my goals," the first question I always ask them is this: how many people do you have in your pipeline? Okay, not enough, right? Usually it's not, right, Ron? The answer is usually not enough.
Yeah.
And
it's never enough.
Right.
You look at any growing business, business. I don't care what kind it is.
Yeah.
The thing is, how many customers do the most successful businesses have? Why is it everybody knows who they are or do business with them? Except it doesn't matter what you're selling. You could be selling oranges, you could be selling houses. But the bottom line is, if you're not constantly trying to build up your contact list, your SOI, your pipeline, as you call it, and rightfully so.
Yep.
I mean, the more people in our business that you can talk to, or the more people that you have in your pipeline, you are by far going to do more business.
Yeah, and in the world of technology, and don't get me wrong, I'm a hey man, good to see you, Randy. Thanks for tuning in. I miss you, brother. I hope we can work together soon someday. But yeah, so the deal is this: in the world of technology, and don't get me wrong, our core service is artificial intelligence. It's giving leverage to the entrepreneur, giving leverage to the agent to help them, with not being able to call smart, right, and to work smart. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, if somebody's not hitting their goals, and you look at, kind of what you're saying, Ron, is like, at the end of the day, it's very simple. There's no technology, there's no marketing plan that's gonna replace the ability for you to go out and fill your pipeline and pick up the phone or door knock or whatever way you want to do it. I don't care if you're flying a balloon over the city to generate leads, but you still got to call them, right? You still got to get in front of them somehow, some way. and that requires you to take massive action to get people in the pipeline. So it's really simple conversation, but it's really important because I think there's this unspoken thing, Ron, that's going around thinking that if I do a certain amount of posts on social media, if I spend a certain amount of marketing dollars, if my website looks really pretty and nice, right? If my desk is organized, if I get everything just right and perfect, I'm going to be a great rock star sales professional. I'm going to be a top performing realtor, right? And
that's crazy.
It's like epidemic is a strong word, but like at the same time, like let's get real, folks. If you want to be a top producer, you have to put more people in your pipeline than the next person. Period. Right? However you're going to do it, and by phone is a major way to do it. And so you just got to accept the reality is that, and I'm reading this book right now called Fanatical Prospecting, and it's a really great book by Jeb Blount. And one thing he talks about is the hyper successful sales professional. They celebrate their deal for how long? Maybe seconds, right? They celebrate the deal for seconds, right? And then guess what they're doing? They're looking for the next deal, right? They're asking for a referral. They're following up. They're going back and building that pipeline back up because they know if they don't and they hang on their laurels, so to speak, they're going to be on the on the emotional roller coaster. And guess what? It's so simple to figure out. If you look at a sales rep that's like this, they kind of go up and down like a roller coaster. It's very simple. It's most likely goes back to their activities and what they're actually doing to keep their pipeline full. And this is the other thing that happens. Oh, I got the deal. The deal's going to close, right? Or yeah, I got a couple good things working, right? And so then they stop going after new business, and they're just focused on the stuff that's in the pipeline, and not building the pipeline. And then they don't. And then let's say a couple deals close, then all of a sudden they got nothing. And they got nothing coming in behind it.
It's even worse when somebody just gets stuck on a deal that died. And that's all they think about, that's all they talk about. And they don't realize that they stopped their business. They stopped it. And it's worse that way because now you're emotionally drained and down. But what I used to tell people who I was teaching, and I'd say to them, you get a transaction, you get it closed, you reward yourself. And you can only reward yourself as long as it takes for you to eat a Big Mac. When you're done, go get that next deal, man, because you're all done celebrating.
Right.
And it's like, or like you said, they're dwelling on the fact that they're going to spend ridiculous amounts of time keeping their deals, watching their deals, making sure they're going to close. That's bull. My God, if they're going to close, they're going to close. You did everything right, they're going to close. But for you to be monitoring them, get an assistant, get an admin to do that for you. You got to get out there and keep meeting people, adding to your sphere, fill the top part of that funnel so things are dropping down all the time for you.
Did I lose you? You there?
No, you got me?
Okay, yep, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And
I just shut up.
got it. Yeah, so that's the thing, and so it comes back to being a professional. What do professionals do? They're really good with time management. They don't. You look at top performers. They don't compromise their business building, their revenue generating activities. They don't compromise the hours they spend building their pipeline. And if they don't have anything going on, they spend more time building their pipeline. They do whatever it takes. So I was actually working with a mega agent yesterday on a one-on-one coaching session, and we had a great conversation. This person is out in California. They're doing an expansion team in DC, trying to be more closer to their daughter that is in DC. And we were having a conversation with this individual because they said that their business wasn't ramping up as fast as they could. Ron, this person was spending 7,500 hours a month, generating 500 leads a month, internet leads a month. And I said, okay, well, how many appointments are you going out on? And this person said, well, I know to hit my goals, I need to go out on 15 appointments a week, because that's just what I used to do. And I said, okay, well, you got the leads coming in, and you're going to be using our service, to rank them and score them, and you're going to get launched with the ISA service, so that'll get you some appointments. But based on our calibration with the ISA, they're probably going to get you on maybe 3 or 4 a week, right? Based on the money you're spending. Yeah. So let me ask you, like, what are you going to do to fill in the difference? How are you going to convert all those leads? And he goes, I know what I got to do. And I said, okay. What are you going to do? And he goes, well, I gotta dig deep and roll up my sleeves. And I said, all right. And I said, so are you committed to prospecting and calling all the hot leads that we're going to rank for you? And do you think you're going to get the results you want if you do? He goes, Isaiah, you're so right. I just have to frickin' do it. I just got to discipline myself to do what I did in California. And this is one of the top, like very dynamic individual, right? And so I think and the point of this, here's the message. Whether you're brand new in sales, whether you're getting real estate, you're just getting into real estate, whether you've been in it for 2 years, or whether you're a top producer, okay? If things are not going the way that they used to go or the way that you want them to go, you got to go back to the basics. And the basic principle of sales that will never change for as long as this world has gravity on it, right? Or for whatever period of time, it will not ever change, is that if you don't have enough people in your pipeline that you're personally going after and prospecting, asking them for referrals, and your team's not doing the same thing, it is impossible to hit the goals. Impossible. And so
I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
And so I think like if, as coaches and leaders and mentors, we owe it to our team to ask those questions, right? And if you're listening to this and you're responsible and you're looking over a team, I just did it with my team this morning because we had a couple bad weeks, and I asked the team a very simple question: how many presentations did you do this week? How many listing presentations did you do? Right? And is the question you should ask yourself. And so when I asked my team how many presentations, guess what the answer was, Ron? Not enough.
How many?
Not enough.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
Not enough. And it was low. It was a low amount of presentations. And the reason why it was low is because the activities were low. And so, I think that it's just really important, especially because we're in January. Everyone's trying to get off to a fast start. Your actions have to match your goals, period. I think you were coaching one agent that you kind of had a fun conversation around that, right? About their action meeting their goals. Yeah. Right? So.
Yeah, right. Well, and the other thing I'm telling, especially this agent, I'm telling them, yeah, we have all this technology, but you're not doing business with technology. The technology is supposed to be used to get you closer to the person on the other end.
That's really good.
That's what it's for.
Right.
And you have to take the technology, and that gets you that in, and then from there you got the personal contact. You're going to get this appointment. You're going to get this list. And when I said, did you ever see a client jump out of a computer? No, you never did. And he looked at me and says, that's so stupid, but you're so right. So, and just like a bell went off in his head. I said, you're getting all these hot leads, these medium leads, these scrub leads. You're getting all these different ways to contact different people you don't even know, yet you're waiting for someone to call you.
Yeah.
No. And again, you got to make them want to work with you. You got to make them call you. It's not how many calls you make; it's how many calls you get, and you turn them into profit. So it just amazes me, being an older gentleman, if you will, watching this and wishing I had it 34 years ago when I got into the business.
Right.
But the bottom line is, what I see is that technology is it's your medium, it's your road to get to a person, and on the other end, because that's what we're doing business with.
That's right.
People, not technology.
So today's message, to Ron's point, is simple: is use technology as leverage, but at the end of the day, you have to do whatever it takes and be fanatical about keeping your pipeline full, period. And watch what happens in 2020. You will make more money, you'll be more profitable, you'll feel more confident, because here's the thing: when your pipeline's full, your closing rate goes up, because you don't need that next deal. Because And there's nothing like desperation, right? I think you trained on that the other day, Ron. There's nothing like desperation to kill a deal. And so your closing rate goes up. Your family life will be happier because things will be more consistent at home with your income, and everything will come together. And it all starts with pipeline, which goes back to prospecting. So that's the message for today. I hope this hits home with you. I hope you look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing whatever it takes to keep my pipeline full? And if you do, watch what happens in 2020. Ron, thanks for joining me again today. Folks, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And again, make sure that pipeline never, ever goes dry. Do whatever it takes to keep it full. I'd appreciate your support, guys. Like this, share it, share this video. If you're listening to this podcast, I love you guys. Thank you to all my listeners, and have a great weekend.